Hey, okay. Boy, was off to a great start. I was sitting here. I was all ready to go, and I had my camera checked out and had everything's fixed and checked out the microphone, and then the internet just totally went out 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go on. And I don't know if you got the note that I sent you, Andy, but I apologize. I apologize for AT&T.
Well, we're here and let's have some fun.
Yeah, well, and we made it just in time because they only allow you on StreamYard to be 5 minutes late. Otherwise, they cancel the broadcast. So I made it within 30 seconds, I think. So anyway, how are you?
Excellent.
Oh, man, I was getting nervous. So I didn't get to do a formal introduction. This is Andy Cahan, who is the most famous musician you've never heard of. And he has a book to prove it. As a matter of fact, check this out. I got this for you. Hang on. There's the book. Well, I keep the book up there because I have, well, I know I created the banner for you. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Well, I got this. See? And there's the book. And there's Andy when he was a hippie. Right?
Yep. That was me in Australia in 1975 when I was performing with Little Richard.
Very good. Now, Little Richard is, now you hadn't mentioned that particular artist to me, but there are, can we say dozens or hundreds of people that you've worked with?
Hundreds.
There you go. So we're here to talk about that. And if anybody has any questions for Andy, here's what you do. You visit StreamYard.com/Facebook. Then they'll ask you to access your Facebook name and picture. And if you accept, future comments will show your name and picture. Okay. And I am Pat Matthews of BeatlesARama.com, in case you didn't know. So let's get things started here. I had the page up because a lot of people won't give their information. And so there we are on the actual website, which is in a little bit of a delay. But if anybody writes any questions there, I shall see them. So tell us a little bit about your background. I mean, where you grew up, you were born in New York, right?
Yes, I was born in Brooklyn and raised in New Rochelle, New York.
Oh.
And
the home of the Petries on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Exactly. That's because Rob Reiner lived in New Rochelle.
There you go. Yeah, very cool. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I was into monster movies. And when I was 12 and 13 years old, I made Frankenstein and Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman and Revenge from Planet 4 and a bunch of other pie fight movies and stuff. And I loved classical music.
Did you collect the little plastic monster kits to put together? You know how the people used to do the planes and stuff? Yeah, I did Dracula. I painted that one all by myself when I was, I don't know, 9.
Yeah, I had the whole Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, everybody.
Yeah. How much would those things be worth today? You know what I mean?
I belong to the Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine club. And
really?
I ordered a hypodermic needle, a big one with blood in it, and a Frankenstein mask and Frankenstein hands, and I made all these monster movies.
Very
and
cool.
Then all of a sudden my sister said, "Hey, listen, there's a Ed Sullivan show tonight, and there's a group called the Beatles. You should definitely check it out." Right. So I checked it out, and I freaked out, and I couldn't believe my eyes and ears, and I was completely blown away like everybody else on the planet Earth.
Right.
And so I decided to become a Beatle. And I had curly hair So I went to the.
show us the book cover, because that's the kind of hair you had, right?
Oh yeah.
That's right. You remember a guy?
Yeah, I actually.
Do you remember a guy that Donovan referred to, Electrical Banana? Remember him?
Oh, I used to smoke bananas.
Well, Electrical Banana, wasn't that a guy? Or was that just a reference to pot?
I know it was a club. There was an actual nightclub called the Electrical Banana.
Yeah.
But it could have been a guy. That would be a good Google search to find out what that was.
Yeah, we should do that. So tell us about. Well, there's a picture of. Is this you?
Yeah, this is me. At 10 years old, and with my dad taught me how to play piano, and I also played the drums. So I was pretty versatile at that age. And did I lose you? It looks like I lost you. Well, hi, everybody.
I went off camera because I wanted to have you in the shot and promote your website and your book.
Oh, okay.
It's a little trick. It's like I'm the director here as well as the interviewer. So, I'm a jack of all trades.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So you mentioned you loved classical music. I studied classical piano from the time I was 6 until I was 16.
Wow.
So it's nothing to brag about now. I have a keyboard and I mess around a little bit, but not too much. But you played keyboards for everybody.
Oh boy, yeah. The list goes on and on and on. Do you want me to start name dropping?
I want you to start name dropping and telling stories.
Okay. Well, let's see. I started a band because of the Beatles. And I wrote all the music, and I got us all the gigs. Uh-huh. And back in 1965, the band would play for $100, $25 a guy. And wow. I had a Farfisa organ with the left-hand bass. So yeah. I was playing bass and keys, and we had a guitar player and drummer, and a lead singer. So we were playing a whole bunch of gigs, and one day, I was friends with Felix Cavalieri of the Young Rascals.
Right.
And we would go to this club called the 4 Points and see a band with a Hammond B3 organ. And we both said, oh my God, it's the wonderful, unbelievable instrument. Mm-hmm. So I became good friends with Felix, and he turned me on to a recording engineer named Roy Sakala, who started the record plant. And he had a recording studio in New York City, and I recorded a demo there called She's Gone Away. Mm-hmm. And it became a garage band, cult, underground hit record. And really? It was very cool, instrumental, and I later on, after I joined the Turtles, I met David Gibson of Moxie Records, and it was a garage band 1960s collector's record label, and they would put out EPs, 4 to 6 songs a record.
Sure.
And so we released the Johnny Farfisa record, which is me. And the reason he called me Johnny Farfisa is because I played a Farfisa organ.
Yeah.
And Johnny Rotten was popular, so they put Johnny Farfisa. And that sold out immediately. And I licensed it to 3 different record companies after that. And I always would go online to see how much it cost to buy this Johnny Farfisa EP, and now it's $75. It was $1.25 originally. So now it's $75.
You find it on eBay now?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Johnny Farfisa, and
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I found a band in Belgium on the stage on YouTube playing the song "She's Gone Away," and they played it exactly like the record. So
Really?
what I did was I contacted them, and they asked me if I would be interested in doing an article for a magazine called Ugly Things out of Orange County. Mike Stacks is the editor guy. And so they did a 6-page write-up on Johnny Farfisa. And then Mike Stacks was friends with Munster Records in Spain. So they signed me to a record deal and released a vinyl 12-inch album with great, a booklet and all the stuff, a really great package. And they sold that really well. And then just recently after that, I was in a band called Geronimo Black that featured Jimmy Carl Black, Bunk Gardner, and Ray Collins.
The Mothers, yeah.
From Zappa. Yeah. And so Munster Records put out another album called Geronimo Black, which was all live concerts and rare studio recordings from 1968. And of course, the Johnny Farfisa was 1965. So those were two amazing albums that are out now that you can buy on Amazon or eBay or on my website and all that stuff.
Well, you originally, how old were you when you left Brooklyn?
3 years old. I moved to New Rochelle, and then in 1968, I decided to move to Los Angeles, and so that was an amazing trip.
And that's how you met Howard and Howard Kalin, right?
Yeah, that was later on. My mom was really good friends with Irwin Garr, who was with ABC Dunhill, with the Mamas and Papas and all this.
Lou Adler's label, right?
Yeah, he started his own record label called Pulsar Records, a subsidiary of Mercury Records, and he hired me $35 a week to be the gopher. Take pictures, make Xerox copies, pick up the musicians and take them to the recording sessions and all that. So on that record label was Dr. John the Night Tripper, Mac Rabenak, and Graham Bond from England.
Right.
He brought the Mellotron from England to the United States. The Mellotron was used on Strawberry Fields and the Moody Blues and all that stuff. It was actually tape recorders. Each note was a tape loop of the instrument playing. So anyways, so Graham called me up one day and said, we got a recording session, jam session, you want to go? Sure. So I put my Baldwin electric harpsichord and my Leslie speaker in my car, in my VW bus, and picked up Graham, and we went to TTG Studios on Sunset and Gower or something in Hollywood. And Mitch Mitchell was setting up the drums, and Lowell George from Little Feat was playing flute. Jack Cassidy from the Jefferson Airplane was on the bass, and Graham was on the Hammond B3, and I was on the harpsichord. And I'm setting up the harpsichord, and I feel something behind me, and I turn around, and there's Jimi Hendrix with two blonde chicks, one carrying his amp and one carrying his guitar. And he comes in and he sets up right next to me. Literally, I could touch him. So he plugs his guitar in, and we do 2 hours of jamming the blues in the key of A. And I was in complete shock. The guy was not only amazing, but extremely funny and kind and very energetic, really amazing. As a matter of fact, at the end of that recording session, we stood in the corner of the room and smoked a joint.
Mhm.
And a roadie joined us. So it was Hendrix, me, and the roadie in a little circle in the corner of the studio sharing a joint. And then Hendrix started to play the guitar with his mouth. And then I started playing the drums with my mouth, you know, you know, and then the roadie was playing bass with his mouth. You know, and so the three of us were a power trio
with no
our
instrument.
mouths.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious, you know, passing the joint around and pretending we were a power trio with our mouths.
Is this recording anywhere to be found? Did anybody roll tape on this?
The actual recording session I have, but the Jimi Hendrix estate has to give permission to release it.
Yeah, but I mean, but you can listen to it.
Yeah, and then like two.
Right?
What'd you say?
I said you can still listen to it. You have it.
Oh yeah, I still have it. Sure.
Mm-hmm. So who else did you play with? Oh wait, let me rephrase that. Play music with.
Exactly. 2 weeks after that recording session, Graham Bond called me up, and he said that Buddy Miles was playing a concert at the Del Mar racetrack.
Yeah, what year was this? What year was it?
1968, toward the end of the year.
All right.
And so Graham said, Andy, we need a drummer because Buddy Miles had two drummers, and one of his drummers got sick, and they're looking for a drummer. So I said, I play the drums. So I was hired to play drums for Buddy Miles. No rehearsal, no nothing. They had the drums already set up on the stage, and everything that Buddy did, I did. So, you know, down, 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 down. You know, I did all the same drumming he did.
Right.
And that was my second encounter. And then after that, Mac Rabenak hired me to go on the road with Dr. John the Night Tripper.
The good doctor.
Unbelievable. He called marijuana marigeraniums. And he was the sweetest.
I mean, I'm a New Orleans guy, and I used to sometimes I was lucky enough to hang out backstage with Mac and the Neville brothers, and they were all sitting around smoking joints, and Mac had his own language. I mean, he, you know.
Oh, it was total Cajun.
Yeah, he was hilarious. Yeah, he really
so we went on a tour to Canada and New York City at a nightclub called Steve Paul's The Scene, where Hendrix played and a bunch of people. So here I am playing this gig with Dr. John, and he was playing the guitar. I was on the harpsichord, and then Booker T, you know, from Booker T and the MGs.
Booker T.
He came in and sat in on the Hammond B3, and then John Bonham sat in on the drums. So here I was, 20 years old on stage with John Bonham, Booker T, and Mac Rabenak. And then at the end of the gig, I go backstage, and there's Ginger Baker and Eric Clapton. Wow. And they were all hanging out and getting stoned, and it was quite an event, I'll tell you. So I played a whole bunch of gigs with Mac, and we wrote a song together called Opium Rose, which is on YouTube. And
I'm going to look that up because you when we talked yesterday, you told me that Opium Rose was his girlfriend at the time.
Yes, actually, he had a mad crush on her. I don't think he ever dated her, but he always had a mad crush on her. They all grew up together in New Orleans. But Yeah, I recorded a song with him. It's on YouTube. It's on my website. I sent you an email with all that stuff.
And as a matter of
So
fact, here I wanted to put this up again. There's Andy's YouTube links. One of these is the song that you wrote with Harry Nilsson, and for the movie, right?
yeah, Harry Nilsson wrote the song called "Me, Myself, and I," and it was for a movie of the same name starring George Siegel and Joe Beth Williams. And we
Mhm.
recorded it in my living room on a 4-track cassette.
Wow.
And yeah, and we mixed it to that. And when we went to see it in the movie theater, we laughed our asses off because it sounded like God. It sounded wonderful over the big speakers, but we knew it was in my living room on a 4-track cassette with a Shure SM58 microphone.
Well, one of these links that's on here, and the other one is you with the Mothers of Invention. I think that what people need to do is go check this out, and then go check out the movie Me, Myself, and I.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I recorded about 40 songs with Harry Nilsson, and
wow, really,
four of those songs are being used on his new album that Mark Hudson produced. And unfortunately, Mark Hudson pulled all of my music off the recording and only kept Harry's voice, and then overdubbed his own music to Harry's voice.
So he's recorded the entire backing track himself? Wow.
Yeah, I did all the music with Harry on these 40 albums. It was just the two of us, 40 songs. It was just the two of us sitting in the living room, and I have a sequencer, and sonic performance sampler, and I'd program all the music, and Harry would sing it. And we did great stuff, Mother-in-Law, by Ernie K. Doe.
Right.
And Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow by Carole King. And we did some Harry tunes, This Could Be the Night. And we did extra verses that nobody's ever heard before.
I have this 4 CD. I have a 4 CD collection of Nilsson. This Could Be the Night, I believe, is on there.
Yeah, but the version that we recorded has 3 more verses.
Is that right?
That aren't on the original record.
Oh, that's okay. All right. So tell me about some of the. I know Linda Ronstadt's one of them, but who are some of the women musicians that you've worked with?
Well, Gracie Slick and I were very close. Flo and Eddie would open up for the Jefferson Starship Red Octopus tour.
Right.
And so every gig, Gracie and I and her boyfriend, what was his name? Damn it. It escapes my memory. Johnson. I think his last name was Johnson. Anyhow, he was the lighting guy for the concert. Okay. And he was dating Gracie. I think they actually got married. Anyway, so every night after the gig, we'd go back up to Gracie's room and get stoned and laugh and talk. And she was like amazing. What a beautiful, kind, sweet, intelligent woman. Really, really terrific.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, she's still, even at, I don't know, 60 or whatever, she still had a great voice.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. And I also became good friends with Michelle Phillips of the Mamas and Papas. The Turtles, Flo and Eddie and the Turtles played a concert with the Mamas and Papas. Now, unfortunately, nobody in the Mamas and Papas was from the original band. And the audience knew it. They didn't see anybody from the Mamas and Papas. It was like a Las Vegas group that was playing the Mamas and Papas stuff. but they were billed as the Mamas and Papas. So half the audience got up and demanded their money back at the post office, at the
box office. Yeah. Well, you know, I interviewed John Phillips back in the 80s, and he was going around, you know, he was playing the Fairmont Hotel in New Orleans as the Mamas and Papas. And it was him, and I'm trying to think of his daughter, the one that had all the drug problems that was on that show.
Mackenzie.
What's her name?
Mackenzie Phillips.
Oh, Mackenzie Phillips. Yes, she was in it. And I think the Spanky McFarlane from Spanky and Our
Right.
Gang. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it was just the three of them. And
wow.
But, you know, he was doing that, you know, so I'm sure you listen. I asked him about Michelle. He said she's a beautiful girl, and, you know, he didn't have anything else to say about her. So, you know.
Yeah, well, she showed up at this concert we did where the audience walked out, and she came backstage, and I was freaked out. I went, "Oh my God, why aren't you on the stage? You're a Mama and Papa." I mean, for God's sake. So anyhow, she just said she came to hang out and stuff.
Now what year was that, Andy?
Oh boy, 90 something.
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah, after John Phillips was passed away or something, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all in my book. The Michelle Phillips stuff. In fact, if my index of my book is hilarious, because as you read through it, you see all these names and you go, "Oh my God!" And name after name after name of all these people. It was really quite a trip.
I just want you to know that I'm saving up all my quarters so that I can buy your book.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's a 2.5 pound, 344 page, 8.5 by 11 coffee table book with thousands of unseen photographs that nobody's ever seen, and great road stories. You know, so it's a very interesting. I got really good reviews on Amazon, and I got nice reviews in several magazines. So it just came out April. So, the pandemic, of course, makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah, that kind of put a damper on it. But look, on the screen is the title of the book, The Most Famous Musician You've Never Heard Of. And you're looking at it. Andy Cahan.
There it is.
Yep. I got to have that book, Andy, so I'll see what I can do.
It's got pictures of Ringo and Harry Nilsson and Linda Ronstadt and Jimmy Webb and the Turtles.
Oh, yeah. And, I used the photo of you and Ringo Starr as the promotion for this. So,
yeah,
you look happy. Let me just say that.
Well, I was in shock because Harry Nilsson said, "Do you mind if, we're going to do some children's stories, and Ringo is going to be the narrator." So he says, "We're going to bring Ringo over to your living room and record him reading these children's stories." And, of course, I freaked out. I mean, but what's really amazing is when I moved out to California in 1968, I had a premonition that a Beatle was in my house sitting next to me with his shoes off. And this is in 1968. And then in 1992, Harry brings Ringo over to my house, and he sat right next to me, and he took his shoes off. So my premonition came true. That was totally amazing. And I'm actually on a record with Ringo. It's an album by Kinky Friedman.
I know who that is. Yeah.
Lasso from El Paso. And the song I'm on is called Men's Room L.A. And Ringo plays the part of Jesus. And he does a narration about him sitting on the toilet looking for toilet paper. And I'm the organ player, and I'm also 3 chick angelic background singers. but
There's
they
a
sped
video
up
of
my
this?
voice.
Is
Huh?
there a video? Is there a video of this someplace or what?
No, but
Oh,
it's a real album. It's
right,
out
yeah.
on
Kinky
uh,
Friedman, right?
Kinky Friedman, Lasso from El Paso. And
Yeah, I'm
actually,
gonna write
that
that down
song
too.
is on YouTube. It's called Men's Room LA, and I'm in the Ringo Starr cameo section of that song.
I'm writing all these things down, you know, and just in case
It's
I'm
all in
gonna
my
look.
book.
That's right, but I'm gonna look for it myself, and then if anybody wants to know, they can write me, and I'll tell them.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you another really wonderful highlight. I mean, besides working with the Turtles for 46 years,
Wow.
was in 1973. I was hired by Little Richard, and we went to Australia, and then we did the Grammys. It was Little Richard and Chuck Berry uh, giving out the award to Stevie Wonder for Ain't Too Superstitious. But I was appointed the musical director for that Grammy show, and the rehearsal was me on a little upright piano, Little Richard, and Chuck Berry in
Wow.
this tiny little room backstage. And I was blown away because the whole reason I became a musician was because of the Beatles.
Right.
And and Paul McCartney idolized Little Richard, and John Lennon idolized Chuck Berry. So it was like a full circle. Here I am with Little Richard and Chuck Berry rehearsing for the Grammys. So that was totally amazing. Then after that, we played Madison Square Garden in New York, and that was completely amazing. Little Richard jumped off the piano and ran up to my organ and jumped on top of my Hammond B3 organ while I was playing, you know, and bouncing up and down and singing. And that was incredible. And then after that, we did American Bandstand
Really?
with Little Richard, and I was the music director for that one. And
We could look that up too, probably. That's probably on YouTube.
it's on. All those videos are all available. We did Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. And
Well, that's
all
very
Little
cool.
Richard did was bounce up on stage, go, I can't get no, and just rocking, I can't get no, and just hours of him going, I can't get no. So it was, he had the most energy and the most charisma and the most excitement of anybody that I've ever played with, ever. Little Richard was the best.
Well,
Totally
listen,
the
I'm going
best.
to put listen, this is the title of the book. We're going to put it up one more time. Well, let's see. Did I just take it off? The most famous musician you've never heard of. And there's Andy holding up the cover, the most famous musician you've never heard of. And go ahead and tell them the price. Because I saw something about you'll sign it for $55 or something. But
Well, that was what it is that Amazon is selling the book for $65,
okay.
and I lowered the price $5 to $60 autographed. So you can buy the book $5 cheaper from me autographed than from Amazon.
Okay.
And the easiest way to find me and find the book is all you have to do is Google the most famous musician you've never heard of, and you'll see a whole bunch of websites pop up like Best Class.
Yeah.
Yeah, my editor, Jeff Tamarkin, he was the editor for Goldmine Magazine, and he's the editor for a wonderful website called Best Classic Bands. And every day he does incredible articles with photos and videos on all this really great stuff. So he did an article on my book on this website too. So,
well,
yeah,
what
it's
I
really
want to tell you,
cool.
Andy, is that this is going to go up on the YouTube channel along with a couple of videos that Andy has sent along to me. One of them is the Harry Nilsson. The other one is the Frank Zappa. And we invite everybody who missed it today to be able to go and see it on our YouTube channel. And here is our YouTube channel. It's called BeatlesARama TV. There's the link. All right. So listen,
All right,
Andy,
so,
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking time out of your leisurely schedule on your boat. And now that everybody's going to start to talk about, there'll be a buzz about the book. I was interested in you offered that it came out in April for the first time, and I was going to ask you that question, but I can see that that was a mere 6 months ago. So now we can start getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it was selling very well, and then the pandemic. Most people said, "I really want to get your book, but I have no money."
Right.
So it's expensive because it's a big coffee table book, and I didn't want to put out a small book like Howard Kalin's book was mostly text.
Yes.
I wanted to do. Yeah, because I saved all my archives, all the contracts, letters, postcards, records, photos, everything, and I scanned it all, and that made it really easy to build this book. It's got so much stuff in it. You can read it over and over again and always find something else that you like.
Can I ask you a quick question before you go? Have you been in touch with Howard, because he was doing the Happy Together tour with Mark, for a number of years, and then all of a sudden he became too ill?
Yes, he had some health problems, and Ron Dante from the Archies,
right?
He became the lead singer of the Turtles. Mark Volman got Ron to sing lead. Now, on the last 2019 tour album that they would sell at the concerts, Mark and Ron decided to have Howard sing Happy Together to the band track of the live performance on stage. So Howard came over to my living room, and Ron Dante sent me the track of the band playing Happy Together, and then Howard sang it in my living room, and they put it on that CD. So that was the definitive version of Happy Together. Probably the last time you'll hear Howard sing that. And it's on that CD, and I'm very excited about that.
Okay, man. Well, listen, thank you again. And it's Andy Cahan, the most famous musician you've never heard of. There's the book. And I want to thank you, Andy, for coming on with us today. And good luck with the book, and happy sailing. All right, that's it. I'm Pat Matthews for BeatlesARama TV, BeatlesARama.com. And we want to thank you for watching today. And it's going to be on the YouTube channel for those of you who missed it. You have yourself a great night. All right. Goodbye, everybody. And by the way, next Wednesday at 2:00, we're going to be talking to Jude Sutherland Kessler, noted John Lennon author. Okay. And that's next week. All right. Until then, be